Welcome tonight to How the Fashion Model Met Her Designer. My name is Craig Bramman and I work for City Bible Forum as the State Director here in South Australia. And if you don't know what it is, it's a workplace mission that's designed basically to help people engage with some of the deeper questions and the bigger issues of life. And it's part of a national network of workers all around Australia. And we have a City Bible Forum almost in every city. And in every place we're passionate about the fact that we want to put Jesus on the agenda, back on the public agenda in the workplace, because we think that he is incredibly relevant to work and life, and convinced that he has relevance and impact on our lives. So we're thrilled tonight to have an international guest with us all the way from Jakarta. Tracy Trinita has been a model since she was 14 years of age, and she has graced the catwalks of Milan and Paris and New York. She's modelled for some of the greatest names in the fashion industry, and she's studied theology at Oxford University under a scholarship. She's become a church pastor along the way, and now works for Ravi Zacharias Ministries, a worldwide organisation that's designed to reach out and challenge those who shape the ideas of our culture around the world with the credibility of Jesus' good news. Now, she is refreshingly natural and a genuine person who has a wonderful ability to connect with people, especially from what I saw today with teenage girls at the school we went to at St. Peter's College. She's a great human being. So on a cold spring night, would you make a warm welcome for Tracy Trinita? She'll speak to us now.
Well, good evening. What a delight to be here with all of you, and thank you so much for coming. You know, when we met people, when we listen to people's story, and we know that there's so many beautiful story and brokenness in people's life as well. But oftentimes when we met them at the first, they will try to just like, hi, my name, and they try to not tell so much about their life until they can trust you. And I was one of them. I'm a private person by nature. I don't want people to know only the front stage of my life, the modeling part, the entertainment part, the fun things that they need to know. But one day, somebody intervened in my life. Somebody come into my life and changed me from inside out. And that somebody really, really done amazing thing in helping me to finally live again, to fully be alive for the first time. Then I realized my story is no longer my story. It is belong to him, the one who changed me. It is him, the grand designer of the universe himself, that changed me. I realized even those stories intervene with lots of people, your family, your cousin, your friends, but it is his story after all. So tonight, thank you so much for giving me the privilege of sharing the story that's so precious to me about how the blitz of the glamour world. And then I thought the happiness lay in there. But actually, I found happiness in somewhere else that, to my surprise, is the permanent happiness I never thought I would ever discover. The story begins with Bali. Bali is the place where I grew up. Maybe some of you been to Bali. Imagine that if your house is 5 minutes away from the beach. It'll be so great, isn't it? Especially for a young person like me, after school, I just can't wait to eat my lunch quickly, maybe do my homework quickly, and run to the beach and swim. And oftentimes, I pretend to be Ariel from Little Mermaid. And I'm so glad my dad, he's a surfer boy, he taught me, like, whenever there's a current, you just have to stay calm until the current passes. So it was a really great adventure in the middle of the sea sometimes. But until evening comes, and I have to prepare myself for the next day, a school time. I honestly don't like school because I didn't realize that in school it reminds me of my crisis. I have an identity crisis at a very young age. The first one was my ethnicity. My father is from Brazil, blue eyes and blonde hair. My mom, she's Indonesian, dark-skinned Indonesians, and I look Chinese. And I remember one time when I was in junior high, my dad came to pick me up in motorbike, and then the next day someone just like, ooh, who's that Western guy picking you up? I'm like, oh, that's my dad. Mm-hmm, your dad, mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh no, that is really my dad. And no one believes because we don't look alike. And I remember in Brazil, people will say like, oh, you're Oriental. Oriental means Asians. And in Indonesia, they call me bule, means Westerns. So I don't feel I belong to any of these two lands. So my crisis was ethnicity. I don't know where I belong. And the second one is actually my name. So my real name is Tracy Trinita. You know what's the saddest things about my name is Tracy is named after tennis player Tracy Austin. She's a legendary. And the only one who doesn't know how to play tennis in my big family, it's me. Named after tennis player. But Tracy, if you're Indonesian, you will say Trasi, and Trasi means smelly fish. Imagine to be called smelly fish in school, especially in school. And I don't like school because of that. And the last one is because I'm actually quite tall for Asians. When I was 13 years old, I was 173 centimeters. And then when I was 14, I was 75. And now I stopped at 181. But I remember my friend would be like, Wayan, Made, Nyoman, and Tracy. And then my other name in school would be giraffe, and then coconut tree, bamboo tree, and so on. So I really, really angry why I'm tall. I wish I can be short like everyone else. My mother thinks that why do Tracy have such a low self-esteem? My mom thinks that maybe if I become a model, maybe I'll have more confidence. So she signed me up into these big modeling competitions. It's called Cover Girl of the Year. So these modeling competitions, it's if you're the winner of these magazine competitions, you immediately become the most famous model of the year. You'll be in the cover of magazine, in the commercial, in lots of things. My mom sent my photo. Apparently that year, there's around 3,000 people send their photos into this magazine. And they can only pick 20. And I was one of the 20. I joined the modeling competitions. And the final night of the competition in Jakarta, with live TV, with all this camera lighting, and they pronounced, the winner is Tracy Trinita. And I didn't realize the implication of winning this competition from nobody to somebody, overnight fame. I come back to Bali. I didn't realize that my life is about to change. I come back to the same school. The next day people will be like, hey Tracy, they know my name. First time ever they call me by my real name. And they will tell me like they saw me on magazine, and they saw me on newspaper, sorry, they saw me on TV last night, and they're just like, and people just start to be super nice to me. Those who were never friends with me all of a sudden become so friendly. And then because I won the competition, I have extra money. And I start to really enjoy this feeling of for the first time feeling important. For the first time I feel like I'm somebody, I'm loved by people. And I really, really like the feeling. And I was thinking like, wow, I never feel happier than this before. This is so good. This is really good feeling. And even though fame was weird, because when I was walking on the street, people would be calling my name, and I turned back like, yeah? And they're like, no, I just know you from newspaper. I don't know you personally. I'm like, oh. And someone said, Tracy, when you're famous, you don't have to say hi to those who say hi to you. I'm like, oh, that's okay. That's weird. Because every time I come to them, they look like they're scared of me, why I come to them. So I realized like I need to learn how to enjoy this modeling world that, you know, from nobody to somebody because of winning these competitions. And then I remember my mom asked me like if I want to join one more bigger competitions. And this competition is very, very significant because the winner from Indonesia will represent Indonesia in the international modeling world, which is 77 contestants, 65 countries will compete. It's kind of like Miss Universe, but for modeling. So I said to my mom, like, yeah, sure. We didn't realize that I was again one of the finalists and again the winner and represent Indonesia in Seoul, Korea amongst international models. And again, winning that competitions that brought me to an exclusive contract to work with agency called Elite Model Management in New York City with agency across the world, around 100 agencies across the world under their management. It was really mind-blowing for someone who lived in the village in Bali to be able to get this amazing contract, which no one in Indonesia ever get this kind of contract before. And even until today, no one ever get this kind of contract. So it was really, really mind-blowing. I come back home and I said to my parents, like, I'm going to move to New York. And my parents like, no, you don't. You're going to study. You can't go. And I remember begging my parents. I keep begging my parents. I really asked them, please let me go, please. And I have this theory. When I was 14 years old, I said to my parents, it's better for me to be the first model ever sign up with this agency, because as of the first one, no one will ever replace me. But if I'm the best, anybody can replace me at any time, even if they are better than me. And my parents are like, no, you still can't go. I was begging my parents, I really want to go. So when I almost turned 15, my parents finally told me, like, if you don't change, if you still the normal Tracy, if you still study, and if you still stay the same, you can go for 1 year. And if you change to the worst you have to come back to Bali and study the same school again. So I said to my parents, I promise I'll stay the same. The reason why I want to leave everything behind, the reason why I want to leave my school, even though it's so much fun now, the reason why I want to leave Indonesian modeling, even though, like the recognition was actually there, is because I finally felt happier. And I really thought, in order for me to be happier, I need to be more famous and more rich. And that's why I want to leave everything behind and move to New York City. That philosophy, happiness comes from wealth and fame, was something that I hold. It was a wrong philosophy, but I hold that. And I thought that that's the only way for me to be happier. I left Jakarta, I left Indonesia. I moved to New York. When they told me that, Tracy, when you arrive in JFK Airport, somebody will pick you up. Somebody will come with a board and says there's Tracy Trinita from Elite Model Management, and that person will take you to the model's apartment for underage, where you're going to have a chaperone and you're going to have a curfew, but this is going to be your home until you're 16. Then you can find your own apartment. And I was extremely excited because I'm like, okay, yay, great. I'm going to have lots of friends around my age in this apartment. I arrived in JFK and nobody picked me up. They missed out the day. They thought I arrived the next day. So I was waiting for 12 hours at JFK Airport until I was really hungry and thirsty, and I realized, like, wait a minute, I should just, find a hotel in Manhattan until they found me. I can't call my parents because they will tell me to take the next flight home. So I'm like, no, they shouldn't know about this. One day I'll tell them, but not now. And also, I'm extremely excited because I was just thinking, I was in JFK Airport, I was thinking, like, wait a minute, this looks familiar. This is just like the movie Home Alone 2. And I'm like, I'm not scared because there's no two bad guys chasing after me. This is great. I was staying in the hotel for 3 days. And I didn't realize that nobody told me that that room service is actually, you need to pay for room service. I keep ordering food until they found me 3 days later and they see the bill and they're like, you eat this? And I'm like, And as they're sorry, they actually end up paying for the whole bill. So then finally, reality comes into place. See, I didn't realize this because I began my modeling career from nobody to somebody overnight. It was an easy job because the client, the advertising or magazine will call my agency in Jakarta, to ask me, Tracy, can she do this job campaign? Can she do this job? So job will keep coming. I don't have to do any auditions. But when I arrive in New York, I'm nobody. I'm a small fish in the big pond. Nobody knows me. I have to begin from zero. And I have to do lots of portfolio. I have to take lots of photos. I have to do lots of auditions. Oftentimes people think the modeling world, the entertainment world, the music world, the showbiz world, it's so glamour. It is quite glamour from the front stage. But the backstage, the preparation is chaotic. It's probably not many people want to see it. It's chaotic and it's so much tears, so much hardship. I remember going in the morning, I have to wake up super early, doing lots of auditions, meeting lots of clients from magazine, from advertising, from designer, and lots of people, and to show my portfolio and hoping that I'll get the job. And out of 100 auditions, maximum I can get is only like maybe 10. So 90 people probably say no to me for one or another reason. And for someone who has such a low self-esteem, being rejected on daily basis is really painful. And I will walk out from the audition thinking like, I'm just ugly. I don't think they want me because I'm ugly. And yet there's something within my heart that said, Trace, you need to stay here because this is the only way to happiness. That if you become famous one day and if you have more money, then you're going to be happy. It's okay. It's okay. That was, the drive to stay in New York, even though it's extremely hard. But after sometimes, I finally got good job. I did lots of photo shoot for magazine, fashion show in Paris, New York, Milan. I did lots of campaign for TV commercial or even for billboard for campaign like Mango, United Color of Benetton, lots of other things. The job is getting more and more. The more I work hard, the more I persist and I don't give up. And finally, I realized, okay, now I have more than ever before. I'm supposed to be happy. But yet there's something strange happened to the heart. I can't tell people about it because I want to prove my theory to be right. I thought I was the only one who find this philosophy that in order to be happy, you need to be rich and famous. I'm like, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, even though there's something strange happen in my heart. So I try to be busy. I try to work, and if I'm not working, I'll be traveling. If I'm not traveling, I'll be maybe partying in between. I'm trying to forget about this. And I love modeling. And I think I met so many amazing people. The designer is like, they're so creative. They make beautiful dresses and they're super fun. Makeup artists can create such a unique makeup. They can change your look in a matter of like minutes. And I met so many amazing people. And even in the photo shoot, I remember going to photo shoot, even when I feel like so grumpy, even when I feel like I'm not feeling well in my heart because of what happened, I'm still pretending. I'm still acting like everything is fine. Especially when the light is on and I will be pretending to be the happiest person on the planet. But when I come home, there is something is missing. There is something is not right. And I'm still avoiding it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just like one day, soon it'll be gone. This is just temporary feeling. I shouldn't even think about it. For some time, it was fine. But after a while, it really started to bother me, even as much I tried to ignore it. I had a friend that she often called me to find out what am I doing the past few weeks. She's Indonesian, she's my closest friend, and she'll be calling me like, okay, where have you been? And I'll be telling her, like, for example, I'll tell her, like, oh, I just got back from Jamaica. There's a photo shoot that we did for this magazine, and it was amazing. And the food was delicious, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, so what's next? What's happened this week? And it's like, oh, I'm going to do this magazine, and I'm going to do that fashion show for this designer. Okay. And then my most favorite part, she was asked, who's the famous person you met? And it's so funny because I didn't realize this is actually quite significant because you work in the entertainment world, you end up hanging out with people that are actually quite famous. Sometimes they're playing a movie, sometimes they're just a singer, and sometimes they just, they're a famous model. And they mingle around the people, they blend in with people. And I remember I'll be telling her like, okay, for example, I'll tell her like, do you remember that movie that we watched about the sinking ship? Yeah? Okay, so the actor was there, and he was very nice. He's normal. He's around my height. And then like, oh, in the movie, you look so tall. I'm like, no, he was my height. And because I talked eye to eye with him, And then it's like, oh, that's great. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then like, did you ask for his number? I'm like, no, he asked for my number. I was just kidding. And then just telling my friends like all the conversation I have with this person. And then I said to her as well, like for example, okay, do you remember when on the way to the shopping mall, like we listened to the CD of this person? And then my friend, yeah. Oh my gosh, don't tell me you met the person. I'm like, yes. And I act cool. So I said to him, I was sitting next to him in this table. My friend invited us for this gala dinner. I was sitting next to him. So I asked him like, hi, sorry, what's your name? I know his name, complete names, and even his birth date. And so and then I'll be saying like, oh, okay, that's okay. Sorry, wait. What do you do for a living? I have all his album. And it's like, oh, I'm a musician. I'm like, oh, that's great. Do you have any album? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, I'll look at it. On the outside, I was so cool. On the inside, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's a famous person. Should I ask photo? No, I should be cool. Should I ask autograph? No, I should be cool. And I'm just like remain cool the whole night, but I just can't wait to tell my friends about this story. And me and her, when on the phone, we'd be like, and screaming and just like, oh my gosh, like excited as a teenager, meeting these famous people here and there. And she always end her words with, Tracy, you're so lucky. I wish I can have your life. And I'll be smiling. And I said, deep down my heart, I was like, if only you know what happened with me just the past few times. I don't think you probably want to have my life. But I can't tell her that. I don't want to burst the bubble, I just like, oh, she's so happy. I'm happy too because she's happy. But when I hang up the phone, I just realized like, there's something wrong with my heart. What happened is that every time I come back home, from photo shoot, from traveling, from shopping, from partying, when I can be the real me, when I don't have to pretending to be professional model, when I unmask myself and I put down, I can be the real Tracy, I realize I'm not happy. There's something happened in my heart. I sense a great sense of emptiness, an emptiness that really started to hurt my heart. I cannot enjoy every other things because of this void in my heart. It starts to feel numb about life. Even I'm in the most amazing party, I just feel nothing. I can be in an amazing location of photo shoot. It feels nothing. And I'm like, wait. What's wrong? Because my theory is that in order to be happy, I need to have money. I need to have fame. And I do have a glimpse of those two. And yet I'm not happy. There's something wrong with the heart. I did avoid it. I even go shopping thinking that maybe I'll forget about it. I even try to diagnose myself, maybe it's depression. I'm like, oh no, that's not depression at all. Maybe it's homesick. I'm like, no, I'm home all the time. Even when I'm at home, I also feel the same way. So every solution is not feeling this emptiness. Then I was thinking like maybe somebody out there knows the feeling and maybe they already have, the way that they actually can feel this emptiness. I asked models. I asked my friends, I said, hey, have you ever felt this way before? And my friend says to me, like emptiness, like a void. Like, I'm like, yeah, Tracy, that's normal. I'm like, I'm so glad it's normal. So I asked my friend, what's the solution? And my friend said, Tracy, don't worry. Okay, from Monday to Friday, work hard. Okay, stay focused in your career. You need the money. But from Friday to maybe Sunday afternoon, use drugs to forget about the feeling. Then on Monday again, stay sober until Friday again. So just use drugs. And I was like, no, I don't want to use drugs because I remember the best campaign my mom given me was when we went to mental hospital visiting someone who used drugs in the past. And my mom just said to me, like, if you want to look older and ugly sooner, use drugs. And I'm like, no, I don't want to use drugs. And that was the best anti-drugs campaign my mom gave me when I was small. I was like, no, maybe not drugs. And then my friend told me, like, Trace, don't think deep stuff. Enjoy life. Go party, meet lots of people. Don't think about this thing. Just really enjoy life. And I'm like, enjoy life. What she meant is actually drink and sleep around. That's what she thinks of enjoying life. And I'm just like, even though at that time I wasn't Christian, but the consequences of that kind of lifestyle scares me. The memory, all the art, the thing add up to that kind of lifestyle. And I'm like, no, I don't want to live that kind of lifestyle. And my friend just looked at me frustrated and said, like, if you don't want to live, Trace, just die. I'm like, where do I go if I die? I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know either. I don't want to do that. So I realized that the answer is not there. The world tried to give many other answers, but it's just not the answer. Then I try to find the answer outside of modeling world. When I look out there, I look at people who have faith, who have religion, who believe in God. They seem to be happier. But then the question is, which God? I come from such a mixed belief system. My grandpa from my mom's side, he's Muslim. My grandma is Protestant. And my side of Brazilian family are Catholic. In Bali, at our home, we have Hindu temple. And every day our maid is actually doing like a Hindu offering. So I'm just like, but which God? I never pray as a family. I never talk about God as a family. So I have no foundations. And you know, it's so funny because I remember as a kid, I go to church with my mom, with my grandma, the most devoted Christian in the family. I sat in the church, never heard the sermon. I'll be sitting there thinking, who I'm going to play later with, what I'm going to eat later for lunch, how many homework I have. Never heard the sermon, never heard much about Jesus Christ. So I'm like, I need to ask, who is God? So I remember going back to my New York apartment and I say this, I was just say this prayer like, God, the one who made the universe and everything in it, please reveal yourself to me. Please reveal yourself to me. I want to know you. And you know what happened? Nothing happened. I really wish there's a voice saying like, Tracy, this is God. What's up? It would be so cool. I didn't realize then, as I look back now, that God always answers the cries of humans' heart. God knows that I cannot help myself. God knows that I need help, and I did cry for help. And I know there's a beautiful verse. Now I know there's a beautiful verse. In Jeremiah 33:3 it says like, call to me, and I'll answer you, and I'll tell you great and mighty things in which you do not know. I didn't know that God is about to answer my prayer. I moved to Paris. And in Paris, I have this friend who's a student at Sorbonne University. She asked me when I come to church. I'm like, no. I told my friend that I only wake up when I'm hungry on Sunday, and normally around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. I can't wake up in the morning. And she kept insisting that I should come. Finally, because she's not stopping, I go to church with her just to stop her. But when I was at church, I don't really know what to do. As people worship, as people praying, I was just browsing around and just look at people's face, look at their dress, look at their bags. But there's something that caught my eyes. Their face. Some of them have a radiant face. Nothing to do with lighting on their face, nothing to do with glitter on their face. They look glowing, they look radiant. And I start to ask the question like, why they look so happy? I never seen this radiant in the back of a fashion show stage, backstage a fashion show or photo shoot. There is a joy on their face I never seen before, not even in the party. And I wonder, is it because they believe in God? Is it because they believe in Jesus? Maybe I should believe in Jesus, but there's something within me. Just, hey, hold on. No. You cannot easily believe in Christian faith. You cannot easily believe in Jesus. No. You need to do investigations. You need to question faith. You need to find out the answer to all belief systems. Ask them the same questions and find out the answer. And the one who gives the right answer that touches your heart but makes sense in your mind, then that is the religion that you should be committed to. Then I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. So I did that. For almost 1 year, I have 6 belief systems that I really want to get to know. I have lots of questions from origin, meaning, morality, purpose, destiny. I asked the question about who is God, why God created the universe, and why God created a human being. What's the purpose of our existence? What's the meaning of our everyday situations? And even the question morality. And the question like, where do we go when we die? And I remember towards the end of that 1 year, I was shocked to discover that not every religion doesn't speak about the same God, because the description of God are different. And I was surprised because back home in Indonesia, we believe like every road leads to Rome, every religion leads to the same God. But when I did my investigation, I realized that they don't talk about the same God. They have different descriptions about meaning, purpose, about the origin of the world, about who is God, God's character. And even the question about destiny was so different. And to my surprise, for example, when they talk about destiny, where do we go when we die? One says that you'll be vanished. You'll be blended with Mother Earth. You're done. You're gone. You never exist anymore. Another belief system says, no. It's so simple. It depends on your past wrong. You can be born, you have to be born again. You could be a tree, you could be animal, you could be human, and there's a different level of that. Another faith says that, no, you'll be just born again and born again until you reach perfections. And one belief system says, no, it's very simple. It's as simple as this math. Okay, your good deeds will be weighed against your bad deeds. And which one's heavier, there will you be, either hell or paradise. But there's one voice says that, no, Trace, you're a sinner. You don't even realize that you have done so many wrong things. You've been hurt by people, but you also hurt people throughout your life. You're so broken. But for God so loved the world that he gave his begotten only Son. So whoever believes in him, not going to perish, but have eternal life in him. At first, it was too good to be true. At first, I was like, really? How come? How? How do I know that this is true? Because the invitation is the sweetest invitation already. And when I start to learn about Jesus Christ through the Bible, it's so funny because for the longest time, I hate Jesus. I never read the Bible. I hate him for no reason. And for the first time when I read his biography, I think it was the book of Mark, I was amazed at the person of Jesus Christ, the miracle he have done, and how he bring up the dignity in people. He restored people's identity. And he promised he is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. And even he died and paying the penalty for the wrongdoings of people. Whoever believes in him not going to perish but have eternal life in him. And he rose again. And even his disciple, who is for me so annoying, when they're following Jesus, but they become, the best leaders when they see the resurrected, that Jesus rose again. And for me, when I read the Bible, it was mind-blowing experience. Of that now it's not only that it makes sense in my mind, but really touched my heart in a deeper sense, because for the first time, getting to know more about Jesus Christ, it really touched my heart. For the first time, I feel love. That story in the Bible, I was like, that is almost me, Lord Jesus. I'm also lost like that person. And when I say yes to him, I was afraid at first because I'm afraid I'll become a boring Christian. But my choice is only two. I can pretend that my world was fine, but I'm empty in the inside. Or I can pretend that, like everything is fine, like perfect life. I can pretend because I'm good at acting. I can fool the world, but I cannot fool myself. It's tiring to pretend that your life is fine when it's not fine. You can do it for sometimes, but after years, I don't want to pretend anymore. So my second option is like saying yes to Jesus, not knowing what I will become, but trusting because for the first time I feel happier. For the first time I feel assured of my future. And for the first time I feel somebody finally knows who I am. When I read the Bible, I say yes to Jesus a year later. I didn't know what will happen. But something has changed because I feel happier, like I never felt before. Happiness that comes not from what I have, not from my name, not from anything else, but something just come into my heart. I didn't realize I changed until someone said to me, Tracy, you changed. You're different. You're nicer. You're less grumpy now. You're happier. And I'm like, really? And there's lots of other change that happen. For example, I go to a nightclub. Normally when I go to a nightclub, I love to make fun of people. And all of a sudden, I went to a nightclub and I feel so sad for the lost one. Those who keep drinking and falling into the ground. And those who's been flirting and just being cheap about their body. And I was just devastated seeing that. And I was thinking like, if only you know there's God who loves you, who have amazing life for your future. You wouldn't waste your life on this kind of lifestyle. All of a sudden, my heart started to change. And not only that, there's celebrations. It's so funny because for the longest time, I thought religion will stop me from happiness. In fact, I'm so happy because for the first time, I'm liberating. For the first time, my identity is restored slowly but surely. I'm no longer insecure because I know where is my security from. And I remember that feeling like no longer embarrassed about my name. I am no longer worried about my ethnicity. I'm no longer worried about my height. In fact, I'm so confident. I'm wearing high heels ever since. But then I realized it is not just to feel good that I believe in Jesus Christ. It is because he is good and he changed my life. And whatever overflows from the heart on the outside is just bonuses. Because I realize that He is the grand designer of the universe that have made you and I. And knowing Him changed everything. It's as if He cleansed my glasses that full of dust and He put it back and I'll be able to see the world with better lights, cleaner, and with so much hope. Hope that I never had before. I am a new person. I promise you, it was amazing going back to the modeling world after I became Christians. Because there's a joy in my heart I never felt before. There is freedom I never felt before. And there's so many cleansing from the heart I never felt before. And for the first time, I just want to impress one audience, which is God Himself. So tonight, I really want all of us in this place to know the grand designers of the universe. Because we are broken somehow. We're traumatized by many experiences, even when we read in the newspaper, even when we heard from family or friends, even our own experience. We try to find happiness in many wrong places, and yet we remain empty. It's not filling yet. It's not hitting at the right spot. I remember St. Augustine says this, like God, St. Augustine from the 3rd century says that God, you make us to yourself. Our heart is restless until it rests in thee, in you, God. And I've met so many people who have so many famous and rich, even those who just feel like I go nowhere, Trace. And I say it like happiness does not come from those kind of things. Happiness comes from knowing God. Because following Him and the shadow of happiness will follow you back, follow you for the rest of your life. I trust the same God that has revealed Himself to me. He is also near to you. May you be able to know Him as well. Because life is beautiful when we walk with the grand designer of the universe and appreciating His gift and honoring the giver of life. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope the same designer will also reveal Himself personally to all of you. Thank you so much.